Hey everybody, this is Cromar with TGN. I'm here today to bring you some more Rift coverage from Beta 6. Today we're taking a look at the Cleric class, the Shaman. Here I have Shaman, Sentinel, Warden, and I want to go over this class for you and show you how it works. So, let me start off. Buffing up. I'm going to pull this guy. I have a ranged ability to pull with. Okay, he is also ranged, so I'm going to shoot him with something as I close the gap. Then once I get in close, I'm going to start in with my melee attacks. At the moment I'm fighting with a staff, but you can also use a two-handed mace. So that one went pretty smoothly. Go, same thing. Pull the ranged ability. Also, got a ranged enemy there, so I'm going to close the gap here. Starting with melee abilities, and it won't take too long. There you go. So it's pretty efficient, especially at this level. Notice I'm just not taking hardly any damage. This glacial shield here, this glacial armor is protecting me against damage, so I'm just going to run up and pull this guy without even bothering with the range. This guy had his own glacial armor I had to break through. It's interesting. So this guy's always taking much longer to kill. This guy's also higher level than me, but still, it's... wow, it took forever. Come on, loot him. Thank you. Talk a little bit about this class. Okay, so the Shaman, on the recommended tab, it says recommended Druid and Healer. Or Druid and Justicar, I mean. And the reason is that the Druid is also an offensive melee class. You can see, like, it's melee attacks, you know, stuff like that. And Justicar is actually a melee tank, which is cool. It's very unique. Cleric tank. This has some pretty nice ones, like you deal an extra 10% damage in your melee abilities when you have a mace or a hammer equipped. You know, very nice. And Salvation, which causes you to heal yourself slightly as you attack, which sounds great too. Now here's the problem, okay? The Druid, you know, one of the other things here I forgot to mention is the pet, that's the fairy. And the problem is that, first of all, this fairy is horrible. Horrible. This fairy is terrible. You just stay away from this thing. It is so bad. I mean, it's completely useless. What it does is it attacks, but the attack's very poor, and it heals you with a very weak hot, like to the point where there's no difference between having the fairy and not having the fairy. So, I mean, that's just terrible. And as far as offensive abilities, you know, this does exactly the same thing as your basic Shaman abilities. So you really gain nothing by going Druid. And Justicar, the problem is that this Salvation, the thing that heals you, the healing is so tiny, it's completely unnoticeable. Without Salvation and the Fairy, it's like no difference to your healing. So forget that. What I did instead was I went for healing specs. The Shaman is entirely reliant on their own abilities for their physical attacks, for their melee attacks. And then you use the Warden and the Sentinel for healing, primarily. I also get a pulling ability from Sentinel. So let me go over those abilities real quick. The Warden is like water-based, and it's based on heal over time. Healing Spray is a free ability that it gives you just for speccing into Warden. And with a few more points, you get like Remove, Disease, Poison, and Curse. And there's a Knockback and some other stuff, but not too much important stuff. The main thing is this Healing Spray, and that's the main reason I got it. Over on the Warden side, I did get a casting, a Light Bolt or whatever, but that's worthless. I'm not messing with that. And then a Instant Heal on an 8-second cooldown. Yeah, there you go. Well, you couldn't really see me cast it, but it's right here. I use this all the time. I have that hotkeyed. This is an instant cast, Life's Vengeance, which I use at a range for range damage. And then, what's the next one here? Shards of Light is channeled. I use this to pull. You saw me use it a minute ago. And then Healing Grace is just a straight up regular heal. So I have an instant cast heal over time, an instant cast heal in 8 seconds, and then a normal heal. So I have 3 solid heals. Without this setup, you don't have any heals. And at low levels, I was finding survivability was a huge problem with the Shaman. Once I got Glacial Shield, that was the armor you saw me use, it does improve a lot because it absorbs quite a bit of damage. But before that, it's really bad. And even after that, it's not that great without having Sentinel Warden. So if you're planning on leveling a Cleric and you plan on going Shaman, definitely get Sentinel Warden. Highly recommended. Now, for attack abilities, you saw me cycling through a few melee abilities. I'll go over them very quickly here. A lot of this stuff you get in here is junk. Actually, before I get to attacks, let me show you this one. This is another heal. That can only be used after being critically hit, which is kind of weird, but I do use it because it doesn't trigger a global cooldown and it doesn't cost much mana, so whenever it does come up, I just hit it. Also, the Shaman has some self-buffs. Vengeance abilities, there's different vengeances, like this one causes your attacks to do extra water damage. This one causes your attacks to slow enemies, and this one is on a cooldown, 2-minute cooldown, 25-second duration, and restores mana. So you swap out to this one to get your mana back if you need it, and then you go back to your regular one, like this one. Then you have courage spells. Courage spells are crucial to the Shaman because, or to any melee cleric, because it grants you attack power, physical crit, and melee crit or melee hit, excuse me. And that way you can stack stats. You can stack caster stats, and it will translate into attack damage. So you want to have this up at all times. The other courage spell does the exact same thing, except the passive bonus is endurance instead of dexterity. Endurance gives you health. And the last category are the heart spells. Right here, Heart of the Frozen Sea, for example, increases resistances, and then there are some different resistances, and so on. And this is an interesting one. What this does is it takes your courage, such as Courage of Jaguar, and your heart spells, the resistance spells, and then it applies them to the whole party. It's a little awkward to use, but it's kind of nice. It does cost 3 talent points to get, though, or 4 talent points, because in order to get it, you have to get this worthless stuff. So I didn't bother with it. Okay, anyway, on to attacks. The attacks for the Shaman, the very basic attack is Crushing Blow. It's just you just spam it constantly. And then you also have Lightning Hammer on a 6-second cooldown, which puts a dot. This is a pretty powerful one. Make sure you use it every time it's up. You also want to use Massive Blow every time it's up. This is just a slightly bigger attack, but it's like exactly the same thing practically. It's really not that great. It's just slightly more powerful than Crushing Blow, but not by much. Then Faded, this is just after the dodge or parry. This is like your overpower, and it's off the global cooldown too, so you want to make sure you use it every time it comes up. Avalanche Strike hits multiple enemies. You have to get a few levels to be able to use this, but it's actually quite powerful. Let's see if I can fight a bunch of stuff at once here. Let's see. Witch Doctor, Basher. I'm just going to pull him like that. This isn't exactly a tough battle here, but I put my hots up. I start hitting Avalanche Strike. Actually, let me get a Lightning Hammer in there for the dot, and then you go in with the Avalanche Strikes. My self-heal pops, so I did that. I want to use my other instant heal too. So you see I'm just not taking much damage. I'm going to refresh my heal over time. Yeah, so not that efficient killing, but at least you don't hardly take any damage at all with this setup. And again, going Justicar or the other recommended one, Druid, does not give you any additional healing power. There's no trade-off there. You just lose your survivability, and you gain really nothing. You don't gain any damage or anything. When you get a nice pull like that, it goes pretty fast. But these melee abilities really need some work. So anyway, that's what the main abilities look like for your Shaman. This is pretty effective. I want to show you the talents real quick here. Increases melee crit chance, increases critical hit damage and healing bonus. That's obvious. This one I'm not too happy with, and if there was any good talents here, I would probably dump it. But your Crushing Blow is a 30% chance to reset the cooldown of Massive Blow. The problem is Massive Blow just, it's not a big deal. You're spending 5 talent points to occasionally get an extra Massive Blow, which adds a tiny amount of extra damage. It's bullcrap, so I don't even worry about this. Lightning Hammer deals 30% more damage. Is pretty good. I use that just because Lightning Hammer is pretty powerful, but it's a 6-second cooldown. It's not that big of a deal. So if there was a better talent, I would probably drop this one too. Over here, there is physical damage increased by 5%. I'll probably drop Long Memory for this one. Why is this called Long Memory? That makes no sense. Anyway, I just think that this 5% is pretty minor compared to what you can get other places, like right here, 10% to instant cast spells. And by the way, I did test it. Your Shaman abilities do not work with this, with Destructive Tide, which is too bad. Otherwise, it'd be a great talent. So once you get up here, you start getting some better ones. Your critical hits cause you to deal extra damage with your next melee attack ability. I guess that's okay. And then this one's pretty good. When your Massive Blow crits, it adds an additional bleed, which does add a decent amount of damage. So I guess if you put that and Long Memory in combination, it's not as bad. Also, once you get up here, your Massive Blow gets a much larger % chance to crit. And on top of those, there's one last ability that's noteworthy, which is Battle Charge. Yes, you do get a charge eventually, but you have to be like level 26 to get this. So it does take you quite a while to get this. It's mainly for PvP because it actually slows them and it breaks you out of roots. So that's pretty nice. So yeah, that's the Shaman's abilities. I'll kill a few more mobs here. Sorry, I can't resist looting shiny things for quests. It's in my DNA. Wow, these guys killed everything here. Okay, so this guy is ranged, so I'm just going to cast my Glacial Shield and my Ice, my heal over time. I just run in, my Fated Blow or whatever it's called, procced. So I use that. Now I'm just spamming, okay, Lightning Hammer's back up. Spamming, okay, Massive Blow just got activated. Spamming, Lightning Hammer's back up. Crushing Blow, okay, here's another guy, so I'm just going to start an avalanche until this first guy's dead. And switch. Glacial Shield. Heal over time. Oh, Massive Blow's up. Fated. Crushing. Lightning Hammer. Crushing. Oh, Massive Blow is up again. There we go. Yeah, that's all there is to it. So, as you see, a very slow going class, not that efficient. Great survivability with this combination. Doesn't really take damage. All I can kill, I've killed like 5 enemies at once and stuff like that, just by constantly healing myself. It just took, all freaking year. So, I don't know if I'd recommend this class for leveling. I think the Inquisitor is way better for leveling. It just, even though the Inquisitor has poor survivability, fairly poor. If you're careful, it's very effective. It definitely kills things a lot faster. Oh, hello. Spec could really use some more excitement. It's very boring. I actually did Shaman at the very low levels, at level 1, and Spec F it as soon as I possibly could. Went to Inquisitor. Much better results. Slow. Okay, there we go. Okay, well, what else could we do with the Shaman to make it better if we weren't using Sentinel or Warden? Well, I don't know. Inquisitor for dots. You could, use pulling skills and dots. It's not a bad idea. Kabbalist is kind of the same thing, although Kabbalist is not as nearly as good. So if you were to add a, ranged DPS here, maybe, Vex, that would be nice. Pull with Bolt of Depravity. Armor of Devotion for a critical hit, that would synergize well with the Shaman abilities. I'm going to say, though, that this is probably the best setup overall for the survivability. And but, if you can give the Inquisitor setup a try. But overall, I really think that you're just better off not playing a Shaman to level up. It might be great for PvP or endgame DPS when, once you get all the, abilities together. But I think that for leveling, I would definitely stick with Inquisitor. So, thank you for watching. This was the Shaman for the Rift Beta 6 event. This is Crowmar with TGN.